born in Flint, Michigan, and I went to college at Michigan State University, and I studied landscape architecture. Then as soon as I graduated, I moved out of the state, and I worked as a landscape architect for maybe 25 years. During that time, I raised a family, moved around the country, Canada, raised 3 kids. And I think I didn't start really doing art until I was 35 or so. And eventually I just felt I didn't have enough time for my art. And when I was 50, I went back to graduate school. I moved to New York and went to New York Academy of Art. Got an MFA degree there. They asked me to do a fellowship, a 1-year fellowship. They choose 3 students there. And so I did that, and then I started doing these sculptures during that fellowship. Kind of developed this style. Gotta make them look kind of bony. I know dogs that have this bone that comes up here, it goes up this way, and it goes over here, and it goes back here to a shoulder blade. You gotta make this big tongue hanging out. It's this really long tongue. Look at that tongue. That's gonna make a great sculpture, this big pink tongue. It's one of the reasons I like this, his mouth is open. I started out doing sculptures. I've always worked with my hands. I renovated a couple of houses. I always felt comfortable doing 3-dimensional. I've also done painting and drawing. I just, it kind of just comes naturally to me, but I would say I have this ability to make things. I don't know why or how, and doing things 3-dimensionally just comes easy for me. We'll walk around the end of it. I'm going to get under there and see where they stick out. If you can hold it.
Hold this side?
Yeah. Okay. That was a style I started off with, where I did layers of blue board styrofoam. I laminated them together, then I carved it and filed it, and it was very smooth, and then I put a brushed plaster on it and I sanded it so it was almost like skin, but you know, it's a little too refined for what who I am. I tend to like things a little bit more loose, because I have a tendency to overwork things if I have the wrong material and focus too much on detail, and I almost need a material that stops me from doing that. Well, the very beginning is finding somebody to sculpt. That's the challenging part. I take a lot of photographs of different people around the city that I find very endearing, or that just kind of I find very familiar. And I don't like people that are too extreme, but somebody that I can have empathy toward, or I find humorous, or just somebody that catches your eye. I don't like to use too many photographs, because then it starts becoming about the technical aspect of it, and I tend to lose a little more of my intuitive ability that way. So I'd like to use maybe just 1 or 2 photographs at the most, maybe 1 front shot and maybe a detail of the face, just so I can, get the expression of the person. But then what I do is I spend a lot of time on the armature. I put it together with a wood armature and some wire for the arms and head, but I make sure that the gesture is exactly where I want it and that it balances before I even start putting it on the newspaper, because it's very important that it's proportionally right and doesn't feel like it's going to fall over. so it's believable. And then I just start layering it up with newspaper and masking tape. It's very simple materials.
My name is Mike Weiss. I'm the owner of Mike Weiss Gallery in New York. I see a lot of the MFA shows, and in this one in particular, I wasn't going actually to see Will's work. I was invited to go down and see another artist's work, and I was really taken by Will's work right off the bat. In Will's case, you know, he had a family, he grew up children, he had a business, he was a landscape architect, and really put that all aside to become an artist.
I make all my sculptures naked first, before I put any clothes on them. Then I decide whether I even want to put clothes on them. Once I put the clothes on, they're all just raw newspaper, and then I do the collage, which is the colorful advertising from the newspaper. Then, you know, when I'm doing collage, it's my floor is covered with it. I have different colors in bins, but I pull it out and it's covered, and then I just look around and I don't know what happens. I'll just see an image and it just happens to go with that person, the words, and then I move it around on the sculpture and it finds the right spot. I also love the idea of the words. I'll sometimes put words on there that relate to the person and tell a story. At a distance, all these colors kind of blend together. Then you get close and it kind of breaks apart again, and it gives you a second look, and it gives you time to look around at the separate images. And then you start reading and you start finding things that do relate to the person. Not all of it does, because it's, you know, it would be so time consuming to find everything that goes with the person, but there are some things on there that work. And when I put the collage on, it's very much like painting. I look at it and I decide where a color needs to bounce over to another spot, and it's very, very intuitive, and I work the whole piece at one time rather than concentrating on one spot, so it's balanced throughout. You know, I never thought of masking tape as being anything important, but now it's just like indispensable to me. I just, the way I move it and I pull it out and I use my teeth and I'm putting it on there, and I couldn't make these without it. And of course, newspaper, I've learned how to use newspaper in certain ways, that how to fold it, how to make concave and convex surfaces, and which newspapers work better. Like I use the New York Times. I like the way it feels, the pulp in the paper and the way it rips, and how to use large amounts and very smaller sheets, and then just little pieces. And I just really became very in tune with those two things, tape and newspaper. I want it to look very raw and trashy, because really, it's made out of trash. Newspaper, in many cases, is considered trash. It's thrown away, it's disposable. But when you think about our bodies, it's very interesting, because our bodies are constantly breaking down, just like this is. So I love how it's imperfect and trashy, just as human beings are imperfect. And I think that was the problem with my earlier pieces, is that they were too much perfection, and it didn't show enough of the rawness and imperfection of people that the newspaper does. It took me till I was 50 to get here, and you know, I'm not gonna not do this now. It's just, now that I've discovered this, it's just, I know this is what I was meant to be doing at this point in my life, so but I feel fortunate that it's all happening quickly now. Now that it took me so long to get here, now that I'm 50, I don't have that much time to wait, so I'm glad it's happening faster now. I'm Will Kurtz. I was born in Flint, Michigan. I'm 54. and I'm a sculptor. Good?